Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to go over some basics of using Microsoft Word and if you were making, let's say, a flyer or a poster. So just basically I want to show you some techniques of working with images in Microsoft Word, controlling layering and stuff like that as a background. So I've got a blank Word document here. Let me just go ahead and zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit more of the whole thing. And before I get too into this, I'm going to head over to page layout, set my margins, and I'll just go ahead and set them to narrow margins. Not too critical, you know, it all depends on where the text is, but I want to make sure we can get our images on there and stuff like that. Now for this particular video, I'm going to go ahead and use some Creative Commons photos. So I'm going to jump out to the web here. I'm over at flickr.com/creativecommons, and I'll do attribute non-commercial, see more. Here we go. Let me try this one. Oh, some neat pictures there anyway. I like the one of the road. Try mountain bike. There we go. So I'm looking for some results that I can use for this demo purposes, and certainly for your own work in your business. You shouldn't take someone else's images. Certainly not for a revenue generating project. And we do have some pretty cool photos on here. And click on this one down here. It's kind of neat looking, and I see that there are some rights reserved, but it's for non-revenue and it's for attribution. So you could use this one for a hobby, certainly for a class assignment, something like that. Let's see what else they've got. Let's look at images that just require an attribute, and you could use these for a business. And I'll do another search. Mountain bike. Now that one looks pretty cool. It's already got some special effects on there to look all neat and blurry like. Let's click on this one for a moment. There we go. Okay, so this is a cool photo. So let's say I wanted to use this. I know you can't see the whole thing yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and right click, copy the image, and I'll go ahead and keep this page available to me so I can put the source, and I'll go ahead and reference the photographer on my finished product. But let me jump back over to my Word document, and really what I wanted to show you is that you don't actually have to stick this as a background image. I could just right click and paste, and that's not what I wanted to do. Let's make sure I've got the right thing. I don't, so let's make sure I copy this appropriately. And I'm going to copy the image. I think I just copied the URL before. And now I'll paste it right on there. So now I've got this image. Now, it's always best to work with a big image, and this one's a little bit smaller, but now that I've got this image on here, I can double click it, and I'm under Picture Tools Format. I'm going to go ahead and set text wrapping behind text, and I'm going to position it. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here so that it takes up a large portion, if not all of. I don't want to stretch it and distort it too much, but that's actually okay there. So I'll just go a little bit bigger. See if I can get that there. There we go. Okay, that's not too bad. And of course you could take this image and you could crop it a bit. So if you don't like the, this one has some thick borders on there, so I could crop it a little. Take those off. And then resize a bit. So now I've got this image, and even though you really can't tell, it's being treated as a background image. So this is the image for my flyer. And then on top of this, I might do some other things like insert a text box. And I always do a simple text box usually. And let me zoom in a bit more so you can see this. And I'll take this simple text box and I'll just put in some sample text real quick. And I'll just format this text box in some way. Let's see, I might use shape fill. Maybe go blue, shape fill, more fill colors, increase the transparency so you can kind of see through it a bit. Click on the border of a text box, and then I can do home, center, increase the font size, change the font over to something else you think is a little cooler. little bigger. On most flyers, especially if they're meant to be hung up, you really can't go too big with the text. Nice big photos, nice big pictures, and then you can experiment to see, gee, would a lighter color font look better? Or a darker font? And if you didn't want to see the text box at all, then you get rid of the border, get rid of the fill, and you can just position this text around, still using a text box. So that's not too shabby. And if I didn't like this, no problem. Format, shape fill, no fill, shape outline, no outline. And now I've got this text on here. And then you could play around with the contrast. Now, of course, my flyer should probably have some more text on there too, like where, what is this particular event? I'm using the big pictures and big text to kind of attract people's attention, but you really also need to give them the information on where they're going and stuff like that. But I did want to point out that it's not too tough to get this kind of stuff done. Now, you can do some other things too. Let me get a new tab real quick. I want to save that page so I can get the source for the photographer later on. But let me do another Flickr Creative Commons attribute, and maybe let me type in something like I'll just type in bicycle again. I'll just type bicycle, and I just wanted to show you can get another photo on there relatively easily. And obviously this will take a lot of hunting to find one that really you like the most. I'll take this one right here, and I'll hold on to this. This is, you have to give an attribute to the person, the photographer, and I'll go ahead and get photo, right click, copy that image. Now when I go back to Word, check this out, I can just paste, and this photo is going to be on top. And of course, as soon as I get that photo in there, I really like to do this text wrap and then inline with text. Now I can do behind text. And keep an eye, I'm going to put this off to the side for a moment here. And it keeps going off my document, that's okay. But you could do something like this. Check this out. I can right click on this photo here, and I can send to back. It kind of disappears. That picture is there, but it's now behind my big picture. So I'll right click on this big picture. It's actually selected, right click, and oops, you can't see that too well. And I'll go to send to back. There it is. Now my big so right click on a photo or an image or a clip art, and you've got these options to bring to front, send to back, bring forward, send backward, and that'll come in handy there. And then I could incorporate this other photo if I wanted to somewhere in the picture. Let me show you another quick trick, and then I'll let you go. I'll just go and open up a new document real fast, and I'm going to go back to this original photo. Right click, copy the image, back onto Word, and paste. Double click it, text wrapping, and this one I'll go ahead and just do in front of text. Perfectly fine. And I just wanted to show you how you could do some kind of potentially interesting effects with an image. In fact, let me make it really small here first. Zoom in a bit. And I'm going to use my control key as I click and drag. So basically I'm just making a copy there. And I'll do 3 of them. So I just did a control click and drag, so now I've got 3 copies. And now that I've got that, you could start to make a collage, so to speak, of the same image, or you could mix these out with other images also. And then you could experiment a little bit. I could use my crop tool and just show maybe the top third of one image. And I could go down to another one and show maybe the middle third of a second image, and go down to the last image and I will show the lower third of this image. And then you could kind of reassemble them, so to speak. Where's that other image? Pop that up there. And I've seen this done with some photos, and it's kind of a neat effect. And then, of course, obviously you could be a little bit more precise with your numbers. And then you could experiment with, all right, well, I'll make that one a little bit bigger. This one I'll bring down here. Make that a little bit bigger. And may not be able to fit them all on here at once, but that's alright. And there we go. So that's just taking an image, cropping it. So I've actually got 3 copies of the same image. Now you could also do this with one image, and then you could take like a rectangle shape. Just head over to Insert Basic Shapes, and you could just draw a white rectangle right on the spot. That kind of give you the same effect. But have fun with that. And of course, if you got these 3 images, you could select portions of them. And on your Format ribbon, you can go to some artistic effects, and you could blur out, you could change over to sketches and things like that. So there's a bunch of different things you might play around with. And this is just using images in Microsoft Word. So have fun with those.